Coming in, an FIR has been filed against Meta India country head Arun Srinivas over abusive and AI-generated morphed content targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to the complaint, the platform is accused of allowing derogatory posts and reels to remain accessible, with the content promoting narratives prejudicial to the sovereignty and integrity of India. The complaint specifically lists 7 Instagram posts and 13 Facebook reels as part of the case. It also seeks the preservation of electronic evidence and legal action against Meta for permitting the circulation of the morphed content. The developments have once again put the spotlight on the responsibilities of social media platforms in handling AI-generated content, deepfakes and allegedly offensive material. Whether Meta responds to the allegations and what course the investigation takes now will be closely watched. Ashok Kumar, former DGP Uttarakhand, is joining us live. Khushbu Jain, cyber advocate, also is with us live. Mayurakshi Das, founder and CEO, Elixir AI, joins us. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, former Indian Air Force officer, also is in fact joining the broadcast. Let me make a start with you first, Ashok Kumar. What do you make of this FIR, the veracity of the complaint, and also whether this could translate into big trouble for Meta?
Yes, it can, because as per law, it is a crime. If you spread hatred, if you spread material which can impact the public order, it is a crime. But only thing is, one needs to check whether they were given chance to remove the content, etc., etc. But this, though there is no separate act for fake news in India, but in IPC also and in BNS also, there are sections which, where you are impacting public security, public order, where you are spreading communal unrest, communal disharmony. All such things are possible under IPC, and the same where the punishment is up to from 3 to 5 years. So therefore, legally it is very much valid.
Yes, indeed. Khushbu Jain, let me draw you in here as well, Khushbu. Now, of course, a criminal complaint being filed against Meta, FIR also being registered now. Do you see this as potential trouble for them? Do you see this as potential accountability as well for them?
Absolutely. And I think it was high time that we start doing that to them. Till now, they have been enjoying, and now also they enjoy safe harbor protection, which is an immunity granted to all these platforms, because they are nothing but a platform or mediator in between. But if these platforms practically become a breeding ground for criminals, if a criminal activity has happened utilizing their platform, and it is inciting violence or any kind of activity which is a punishable offense in India, practically the platforms have to be vigilant, they need to act upon. They have been silent till now, but now that we have got a law, we have got an amendment in our IT Act with the rules where it clearly specifies that how platforms need to act if they want to enjoy the safe harbor protection given to them. They need to make sure that the AI content or a synthetic content need to be labeled number 1. They need to have wherewithal or technology in place where they see that if the content is AI generated or non-AI generated, and labeling is done, whether the content is creating a illegal part of creating the uproar in the public. All these things is a duty which is being given to platforms if they want to continue utilizing or having that blanket immunity for them. And they are doing that. It's not just in India. If you see, they are doing, when they comply in Europe, EU AI Act, they are doing all these things. All these things are pretty much there, mandatory, and they don't have a problem in complying there or applying that technology. So when it comes to technology, they do have a technology. When it comes to India, why are you quiet when it comes to this? Why are you not acting upon it? Why are you putting that this is something which is not, feasible for us, technologically not possible, or 10 more excuses? So I think how we act in the physical world, if I'm aiding in any crime, I think the previous DGP would agree with me that if I'm aiding in any crime, I should also be punished equally or be part of that FIR. The same thing, if you're aiding in a crime, that means you had a knowledge. You're practically providing a platform where the crime could be committed. Despite all that, you are silent on it. You should also be punished at the same time. We cannot have these platforms become a breeding ground for criminals, and it can continue and it becomes a lawlessness state in the age of technology. where millions and millions of Indian users practically watch and get update from these platforms. And we are in the world where we don't know how to decipher between an AI or a synthetic video or a real video, or for that matter, even a real video which is creating an uproar or a public order in a country like ours. So I think it was a high time that Indian law enforcement agencies act upon it and act upon it to a manner that we have got law in place to start enforcing that law which is in place. So this law is not new. This was there since long back. When they gave them safe harbor protection, it was very clear that you enjoy safe harbor protection, which is a conditional protection. This is not a blanket safe harbor protection given to you without anything so that you become away from law or bigger than a country's law or a constitution of a country. So practically this should have been done long back. But now that they are acting upon, I think it was a high time, and I am very happy on the government or the law enforcement's part to practically take this action to show them that my country, my people are bigger than you and your profit.
Okay. Let me also, in fact, quickly take that to Mayurakshi Das on what you make of this FIR, its potential ramifications, and whether you believe this was coming for a while.
Absolutely. You stole my words. This has been coming for a while. And I'm hoping that, this time I think they really tread on very dangerous grounds with PM Modi and such an influential public figure who's, definitely influencing youth and, so many human minds, right? Young or old. Having said that, there is political parties involved. There's all of that involved. However, we must not forget that he's first a human. He has human rights, and I'm hoping that this case with PM Modi as an example will make definitely cybercrime, will make the cybercrime department extremely vigilant and open to, regular citizens like us whose security also can be compromised, maybe in a way bigger way, than, PM Modi, the armed janta out there. Imagine any woman's modesty outraged with AI videos. Imagine, financial losses to anybody else. So I think all of us have something to lose. It's just that I'm kind of happy that they've scratched this surface now, and they will really bear the brunt of it. Not only Meta, I think Meta's, the one being penalized right now, but all other social media platforms. I've heard terrible things about LinkedIn. I've heard, there's so much content on X, formerly Twitter, etc. I think while, the whole world is talking only about data security and data sovereignty, where are these big multinationals with teams on actual data verification? Has any of them appointed, or are they spending any of their profit margins on really responsible content and AI? So I think this is going to be a huge wake-up call. And however, I just hope the cybercrime department is not going to react only to an influential person here like PM Modi, but also be very approachable to the armed janta like us.
There are several, posts which have been flagged in the past, but yes, of course, perhaps more accountability is needed, and now perhaps it will be, affixed as well to the errant social media giants wherever there is a fault. Will that happen, Wing Commander Sudhakaran? What do you make of this? Meta India head booked for this lapse, for this complaint, for the action that the complainant wants, the petitioner wants in this particular matter. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, what do you believe the ramifications of this FIR are going to be, not just in this case as a whole, but for the social media giants in the country in a wider scope as well?
India has collected around 2,500 crores as penalties from Google, Twitter, Meta, and X, and even Microsoft platforms in the last 4 to 5 years. So collecting penalty is a kind of fetish that the Indian government has now nursed. We are running around in circles. Probably we don't understand what we are getting into. China saw this coming in 1998. They started the Great Golden Shield project. That is why platforms like Google, like X, like Meta don't mess around in China. Otherwise, if you have to mess around in a country, the easiest country to mess around is China, because there is no there is no human rights, there is no labor wages, there is no rule of any kind prevailing in China. But China is able to stand of its own. Come to India. 2022, Google paid, I think, something around 1,300 crores. Meta themselves paid around 234 crores, I believe, somewhere around 2024. You can keep raising FIR or Section 79 on which they take refuge in the court. It doesn't hold them accountable at all. Let me give you a very small example. The ads that come on YouTube, in Facebook, in Instagram, they are actually so much of, it's a scam. Like, they cheat in and out. They show a different product, they sell a different product. The same thing an Indian private limited company cannot do. But Meta, Google, Twitter, they get away with this murder. People's money, it's just taken. The ads look so convincing. You place an order, you will get something else. And then you will realize that this is how they run. They hardly place, in fact, close to 15% of their revenue runs on these kind of scams globally. And Europe has got onto this act. Europe has very clearly said that any penalty, if they are caught red-handed, 6% of their global turnover will be inflicted on them as penalty. This is one part of the story. The second part of the story is every state government is going and sitting in their lap. In fact, some state governments have given their governance to WhatsApp. They don't understand what they have surrendered. If you give your governance to platforms like WhatsApp, to OpenAI, they are like the modern East India companies who are going to kill you from within. It is just going to be a matter of time. They're going to use this information against you. Why don't, for we God's sake, understand that data is the most important part which trains their intelligence. And that is why they are all lock, stock and barrel here. It is not the love for the country. This country has to stop outsourcing strategic consultancy. The big five sit in almost all government corridors. That is where the policies get made. Now, if your policies are fundamentally flawed or biased towards the West, and the deep state almost managed a regime change through the cockroaches. Meta, through its Instagram, was able to prop up the CJP with 20 million followers in over a week. Is that a joke? We need to get these things straight. If you think that this was organic, there was no play of a deep state or the Western hand in what happened in Delhi, I think it's time that India smells its coffee. We are running around in circles. We are trying to think that our DPDP Act will protect us. It will be too late. This time they were just 2 ministers short of reaching the Prime Minister. They were just 50 meters away from your Sansad Bhavan. The police, because they protected you, today they are being harassed by these cockroaches. And we as citizens, we are, just being bystanders to it, watching it. It is high time that
let me get a quick word in from Mayuraki Das as well. I think she has to leave us now. Mayuraki Das, quick last word before you head out. On, of course, now the way forward. This is one complaint. Do you believe more accountability will be a fix? Do you believe social media giants will then think twice before looking the other way when complaints are raised by users? We've seen, from child pornography rows to other controversial anti-national content as well that has been flagged, deep fakes, intrusion into privacy, whatnot. Will this lead to perhaps more responsibility?
Definitely. All of us, we're humans. We need these catalysts, and somehow there is a precedence, right? One murder case then makes the laws stronger, etc. It's like disease control, right? A particular disease fuels innovation for medicines, etc. Having said that, the couple of points you brought up right now, child pornography, women's privacy being exploited, etc. I think these were way, way bigger issues than, PM Modi being attacked. Of course, the impact of this is huger. So I'm 100% sure that private users will come out into the open and be more public. However, going back to my point about the law enforcement agencies, cybercrime, as citizens, we need to know that there is a cybercrime branch somewhere around in the vicinity, like we know for government schools or colleges or whatever. It is mandatory in today's day and age. And I've been saying this, that while we as citizens, we know which is the closest police chowki, but is that police chowki equipped with a cyber control branch? Because that is where most of us are, tech is what we all are using, and that's where crime is happening. So I think the national or the state expenditure in terms of security, police, etc., has to be relooked at in terms of cybersecurity cells being opened, and that is the larger solution. Of course, there will always be, acts which will come, but we have lakhs of law cases waiting, right? So the criminals are going to do it no matter what. How we mitigate it, how we solve for it, I think is going to be very key here. And I urge citizens, whoever has been part of a horrendous experience like this, please feel free to speak up at your local crime authorities. And I believe in the Constitution of India, and I'm sure something like this will be fast-tracked since PM Modi himself has faced something like this.
Okay, let me in fact take that to you as well. Khushbu Jain, is the law strong enough, or does the IT Act need to be strengthened further? Do things need to evolve on that front as well?
Absolutely. I think we are in the situation where we did catch up with the law while bringing in a lot of amendments when it comes to IT Act, when it comes to AI related content to protect our citizen from any kind of crime that might happen by looking into videos or AI generated videos or voice. In all that matter, we have done that. I think what is required not on the amendments of the law, but more when it comes to implementation of those laws, when it comes to making our law enforcement agencies equipped with the technological advancements to practically catch hold in real time, number one. Also, the second part, that even if that's done, it's the evidences are collected in a manner that it can be retained, produced when it is done. The third, I think it cannot be a national issue. It has to be an international issue, because cybercrime has no border or no fence. Practically, a person sitting in some other country, committing a crime, for a petty crime, you will not go. For a crime which is modesty of, women, you will not go. When it comes to crimes which are crossing 7 crores, 10 crores, is also they are thinking, okay, how do we think of? I mean, I'm giving you a very practical example that if a crime is committed in Kerala and I'm sitting in Madhya Pradesh, there also there is a challenge. So let's understand when, a person who's sitting in Indore, I tell him that the crime and he finds that IP address of the person who has done the crime or his IT belongs to not India, not Madhya Pradesh, but somebody who's sitting in a Cayman Island or in US or in, China or anywhere else in the world. Practically, we need to have a place where this jurisdiction doesn't play an important role. Seamless sharing of information amongst the law enforcement agencies who's taking care of cybercrime worldwide. All countries come together in this, because this is not a fight which is countries are against each other. This is every citizen of the world, each country together have to fight against cyber criminals, because it's not just about, making a video when it comes to against a political party or a PM. It is practically everything. When you spoke in your talk, right from fake to modesty of women to child pornographic content to child abusive content to utilizing child in creating those content. I think the crimes are endless utilizing technology, and platforms have become breeding ground. They
Right.
have been
Okay. Ashok Kumar, let me draw you back in here now. Ashok Kumar, on the way forward. This is one step. This is one FIR. What is the way forward, Mr. Kumar?
Firstly, I would like to react to the question you asked, Madam Khushbu.
Yes.
IT Act is very, very weak. Let me tell you. It is very, very weak. The government has admitted to the Supreme Court or informed the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, that they are going to bring a special act for deepfake and digital arrest. We have to, as a police, we have to take help of IPC and BNS now for arresting people, because most of the crimes in IT Act are below 3 years. And for 3 years punishment, we cannot arrest a person. Therefore, we have to go for fraud, forgery, such sections of IPC and BNS to make arrest. And secondly, I'm just answering the old question. These deep fakes are going to impact each and every one of us, including you and me, because people are, creating anything out of your pictures, photos, videos. So that is going to harm the whole country. We need a special act for such things. Now, please, what is your specific question? I would like to answer that. I just
On the way forward now, what next after this? This is one FIR. This of course pertains with the Prime Minister of India. But there are also many others who have flagged controversial content in the past. Will they also, get action now moving forward after this FIR? Hopefully.
First is a very strong act against the fake news, deep fake news, and all such cyber crimes. First way forward. Secondly, the strengthening the police capacity to handle cyber crime. That second madam was saying that in police is handling VIP crime, but not no common man cannot approach the cyber police station because we don't have enough number of cyber police stations in India. We need to strengthen police capacity to handle cybercrime because it is voluminous. The whole country has 14-15 lakhs IPC or BNS crime annually, while cybercrime complaint itself are 20 to 23 lakhs. Just imagine cybercrime alone. So we need far more policemen. We need them technically stronger. So that is another thing which is required so that we can handle cybercrime. Thirdly, everyone's privacy is important and such deep fakes should not be tolerated at all. Therefore, the way forward is that police is, from IT Act, police is allowed to take action, strong action against such breakers of the law. Only that is the way forward. When the FIR will be registered and people will be arrested, only then it can be stopped. Otherwise, common man sometimes keeps approaching here, there, and there is no relief. The moment keep coming that their fake videos or their videos are being circulated on this platform. Police tries to get those removed. So then the FIR is required. We do our best. But as I said, capacity of police is limited. We don't have that much manpower to handle each and everyone's crime because the volume is so much.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll leave the last word to you, Wing Commander Sudhakaran.
See, I will respectfully disagree with the notion that we will need better law or more police station. It will not work. Why? I can control my platform. I can't control a foreign platform. You can create the best law in the world, but the cyber crimes will find ways which, technically speaking, a policeman will never be able to handle. We can keep making them a PhD doctorates. That is not what they're meant for. They're meant for a very different job. The only solution to this is indigenization of Indian social media platform. And this is something that I gave to the National Security Advisor 4 years back. The Indian government has yet to take a decision on this. Because they don't have, if you don't take a decision, you will never build of it. Whether you can build or not build is not the question here. You need to take a decision first. And India procrastinates. That's the crime India commits. And that is why the cockroaches were in Jantar Mantar. In 2024, had we done this, what we had done today, then we wouldn't have seen this day today. Okay. We would have marched forward. Okay. So indigenization is the key.
Okay. I've run out of time. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. Let's slip into a short break.